Hi, this is James Gordon of October Live here with the first book in the October Terror series. The first book I'm reviewing today, Book of the Dead. This is an anthology edited by John Skipp and Craig Spector. This was first published in 1989. This edition is the second printing from 1990 from Mark V. Zunzing. This has a collection of zombie stories. This was a decent read. It had some stories that were interesting, others that were just a little too bizarre and weird, and others I just didn't like. But during my review, I'll talk about some of the stories in this anthology. I was originally planning to review all the stories, but not all of them were easy to understand what's going on and were quite difficult to kind of translate it into a review. Like, how would I describe this story? And a lot of them, not a lot, but there are some I really didn't like, so I decided to leave those out. But anyway, I'll discuss what I liked about this book, what I didn't like with it, and my other thoughts and opinions on this anthology. And spoiler alert, as I will be giving away crucial details within the stories. Alright, on to review. Blossom by Chad McConnell, written on the Conundrum by David J. Scroll. Amelia is having a dinner date with an old yet handsome rich man, Quinn, but this isn't a normal date, as both Amelia and Quinn have an interest in eating flowers along with kinky sex. After dinner, Quinn takes Amelia home and engages in bondage sex along with teasing her with a knife. While Amelia is enjoying herself, Quinn takes out a bondage mask and places it over her head along with zipping the brief hole shut to suffocate her while having sex. Quinn removes the mask, believing Amelia is dead. Satisfied, Quinn goes to fetch himself a glass of wine, but when he returns to his bedroom, Amelia has eaten through the scarves tied around her arms and legs and attacks him by biting off his nose and devouring his cock. Quinn tries to crawl away but is killed by Amelia as she eats his body. The next day, Amelia leaves Quinn's house and is looking forward to her next day while eating a flower. Mess Hall by Richard Lehman. Jen and Paul are in the middle of having sex in the park when a man suddenly appears. He refuses to leave while disgusted with their actions. As Jen tries to quickly finish up, the man reappears armed with a shotgun and blows Paul's face to pieces. Blinded by blood in Jen's face, the man attacks her till she can't get up and carries her back to his car. Handcuffing Jen to the passenger door, the man reveals himself as the Reaper, a serial killer who's been stalking women on campus grounds. The Reaper states he enjoys stalking and killing his prey and even jokes of getting a film made about him. Jen confesses she killed a woman who was cheating on her boyfriend by suffocating her with a pillow. The Reaper is impressed, but Jen doesn't want to join in on the Reaper's fun. The Reaper takes Jen to his house and carries her over to a tree as he dubs it the mess hall, handcuffing her to a chain tied around the tree as he cuts off her clothing so his forest friends will have something to eat, as he's done this many times. While teasing Jen with a screwdriver, she is able to get her right arm out of the handcuff, reach for a rock, then smash it hard over the Reaper's head, knocking him out cold. To Jen's horror, the Reaper's friends aren't animals but 6 mutilated zombie women, each one having been cut up nasty injuries along with missing body parts, as they begin feasting on the Reaper, getting their revenge. However, after they are done eating him, the 6 zombie women turn to Jen while she's been trying to reach for the handcuff key. Jen fights off the zombies using her feet and tools within her reach. Once Jen frees herself, she is about to run away when the Reaper is reanimated back into a zombie. Jen stomps his head in, takes his car keys, and escapes. It Helps If You Sing by Ramsey Campbell. Bright leaves the library and makes his way to his apartment where he lives alone. Along the way, Bright hears singing followed by a woman's cry, then silence. When he reaches his apartment, he is surrounded by a group of people who are barefoot while wearing all black. They wish to enter and sing with him. Bright tries getting them to leave, but they refuse and is unable to lock them out as they force themselves into his apartment room. Trapped in his apartment, they play a tape on his cassette player with a mixture of passages and singing. Bright realizes these people are cult members and they're zombies. The leader pulls out a knife and says, "It helps if you sing," before killing him. Home Delivery by Stephen King. Maddie Pace, a married widow living on Getiseau or Jenny Island off the coast of Maine. She lost her husband Jack during a fishing accident that killed him. Unknown to both the residents of Jenny Island and Jack Madeline was pregnant and feared her baby would be taken away. While she's enjoying life by herself, a sudden zombie outbreak happens when an alien craft dubbed Star Woodworm causes the dead to rise and attack the living. Both American and Soviet forces try to destroy Star Woodworm but fail. The residents of Jenny Island begin rounding up firearms and fighting against the zombies in the cemetery. Madeline is attacked by her zombified husband Jack. stabbing his eyes out with knitting needles, then chops him up into pieces with an axe. After the residents bury the dead with a bulldozer, Maddie believes there is hope for the human race when her baby begins kicking inside of her belly. Wet Work by Philip Nutman. Dominic Colito, a professional assassin or known by his nicknames One Shot or Mr. Trigger, is part of a hit team known as Wet Work. Working for the American government, they are cleaning through an apartment building, killing its residents, and taking their bodies in gray armored trucks. However, during the drive back to the White House, they are ambushed by a squad of police officers, killing all members of Wet Work. When the police officers check the dead bodies, the police chief recognizes they are government agents and zombies. A Sad Last Love at the Diner of the Damned by Edward Bright. In a small, quiet town of Fort Durham, Colorado, Martha works at the local diner and is the prettiest woman in town. Every guy has their eye on her, especially Bernie and his two mean friends, Billy and Shine. They hang around the diner, eating, drinking, and dislike the music the radio plays, all the while waiting to kill any zombies they see. The only man that Martha loves is Sheriff Mac Bobby. As the zombie outbreak is getting worse, along with Bernie and his friends harass Martha, knowing full well they want to rape her, she thinks of leaving Fort Durham and wants Mac Bobby to come with her, but isn't sure it would be a good idea with the zombie outbreak. During closing hour at the diner, Bernie and his friends appear and attempt to rape her after killing the diner's owner, Henry. Bernie tells Martha that her sheriff isn't going to save her after murdering him, but to their horror, a zombified Mac Bobby runs through the window and tears off Bernie's cock, then rips off his limbs, then kills his friends. Suddenly more zombies appear as they overthrow the town. Martha is forced to kill Mac Bobby, then turn the gun herself just before they can feast on her. Bodies and Heads by Steve Raznik-Tem. Elaine, a nurse working at a hospital that's trying to help a boy she's named Tom, who's suffering from a virus that is turning people into zombies. The boy keeps moving his head back and forth like he's saying no. The doctors are forced to strap him down so he can't attack anyone, along with placing his head in a horse collar to keep it from moving. With Elaine is her boyfriend Mark, the janitor, who sneaks in supplies as the area they are living in is quarantined by the government to keep the zombie infection from spreading. However, as more people are coming in with this deadly virus, many doctors and nurses refuse to show up for work after being unable to find a cure or becoming disturbed with their patients. Elaine and Betty are the only nurses left in the hospital as she wants to help out Tom, but after a night with Mark brings a VHS tape of men nailing a zombie to a wooden board for fun, when the zombie fails to show any signs of pain, the men take out axes and begin chopping it to pieces, which disgusts Elaine. When Elaine goes to check on Tom, she is horrified to find his head has been chopped off, believing Betty did it. But Tom is still alive as the headless body moves towards her while picking up its head and throwing it around. Elaine is then overpowered by the zombie patients, becoming infected herself as her head begins to shake back and forth while saying no, no, no. The Good Parts by Les Daniels. A group of zombies are searching for humans to feast on. The unnamed character, a overweight zombie, eats the leftovers, what his friends find while hunting for humans. One day he meets a zombie girl as the two enjoy eating raw flesh and have sex. When the woman gives birth to a strong, healthy human girl, her mother fights away the other zombies from eating her daughter. To help their daughter grow big and strong, both parents allow their daughter to eat them. When the daughter is old enough to go search the world for humans to feast on, as there barely anything left of her father, but knows she'll find the good parts. On the Far Side of Cadillac Desert with the Dead Folks by Joe R. Lansdale. Set in the post-apocalyptic world after a bacteria has turned most of the human population into zombies. Wayne, a bounty hunter, is after a dangerous criminal. Calvin, a serial killer and rapist. Driving his 57 Chevy, Wayne tracks his bounty down to a bar called the Rosalita out in the desert. Taking his soft shotgun, a .38 revolver, and 2 pairs of Bowie knives, Wayne enters the bar, which has zombie dancers with their arms and legs amputated along with their jaws wired shut so they can't harm their patrons. Calvin is sitting with a zombie dancer on his lap. Wayne sneaks up on him and the two engage in a violent brawl. A bouncer tries to break up the fight, but Wayne wounds him. After beating up Calvin, Wayne drags him out and handcuffs him to the passenger door, then shoots up the bar as he flees to Cadillac Desert to cross into Lawtown. Wayne plans to retire after collecting his bounty and own a wrecking yard. After resting for the night, Wayne goes to finish his job when he suddenly gets caught in a sandstorm and crashes into something. When the storm clears, Wayne wakes up to find a bus full of zombies and a few women dressed up as nuns. A fat and very ugly man, Brother Lazarus, forces the two men onto the bus and takes them to a place called Jesus Land. There they meet Brother Fred, a priest who wants to find a cure for the virus and takes blood samples from both Wayne and Calvin, but refuses to let them go, knowing he's going to keep them as guinea pigs. Just when their luck seems dead, a nun visits Wayne, revealing herself as Sister Worf, who wants to escape Jesus Land, and the real reason why Brother Fred has them there, as he wants to live forever and plans to use their limbs to keep his body functioning. She also wants sex very badly. Wayne gives her the best sex she's ever had and agrees to help them escape, along with Callahan and Wayne setting aside their differences. Sister Worf steals guns from the armory and gets both men out of their cells. They both kill Brother Lazarus and Brother Fred while engaging in a bloody shootout, then a daring escape with the bus. Once they reach safety, Wayne plans to settle the score with Callahan with a showdown, then collect his final bounty. Jerry's Kids Meet Worm Boy by David J. Scroll. Living in a bunker under the graveyard after the world has gone into ruins during a zombie outbreak is Worm Boy, a filthy, overweight, mutated man that hunts for human survivors to feast on and eats any part of their body by blowing their limbs off with his .44 Magnum. In his home, he has body parts and organs hanging on chains and hooks and keeps any human prisoners in animal cages before dispatching them with an axe and eating them. And the whole graveyard is heavily fortified to keep intruders out. Warboy finds out another survivor is living next door to him, Jerry, a fundamentalist preacher who believes God has punished humanity and that zombies are the chosen ones to reclaim this earth. His flock, which he dubs them as Jerry's Kids, are zombies and feeds them rattlesnake venom to keep the zombies from attacking him. Wormboy plans to kill Jerry and his flock. He arms himself with an M60 heavy machine gun and begins blasting his way through the zombies. Jerry draws out a pistol and wounds Wormboy, but is hit by the chest by Wormboy's .44 Magnum. Both men die as their bodies are feasted on by Jerry's kids. Book of the Dead has bizarre, strange, yet interesting stories all about zombies. While some stories were better written than others, however, not all the stories I liked. With one story, Saxophone really felt out of place. It was more of a war story than a zombie tale. Other stories I didn't like were choices less than zombie, like Pavlov's Dogs, Dead Giveaway, Home Delivery, Eat Me. These stories were either too difficult to understand or just didn't like how they were written. For the stories I liked best were Jerry's Kids Meet Worm Boy, On the Far Side of Cadillac Desert with the Dead Folks, Wet Work, and Mess Hall. While I did enjoy some of these stories and liked the creativity the authors put in, however, I felt the rest could have been a lot better. Some were just too weird or strayed off, becoming hard and difficult to understand what was going on or the lack of detail when it was needed most. Overall, Book of the Dead is a mixed bag of decent to bad zombie stories that you may like or dislike. While this anthology is beloved by horror and splatterpunk fans, I would say that this isn't for everyone. If you want to check it out to see what Book of the Dead is like, then go for it, but if you want better zombie stories, then this isn't the zombie book for you. And that is it for the review today. Sorry this took a little longer than I expected. These stories were kind of like a chore to get through, some of them, and just a lot of things coming up this month as, trying to get this October Terror going, and just things just keep getting in my way. So it was a bit of a frustrating week, but I am finally done with this anthology, and we'll move on to my next horror book, which I will read much as I can to have a review up soon. And then move on to the other things I got picked out for this October Terror series. As for the book, Book of the Dead, I'm going to keep it because it did have some really good stories I did like, but not a lot of really good ones, and I was like hoping for more like more stories about people trying to survive in the apocalypse and stuff while facing challenges like raiders and other things like that. A lot of the stories I felt were a little too much like Day of the Dead, which had zombies participating in game shows and a whole bunch of other things. Some of them I didn't mind. Others I just felt I was hoping would be better, and there were some stories I really didn't like what was it? Oh yeah, Less Than Zombie. I really had no idea what the hell was going on in that story. It felt like it wasn't really a zombie story at all, and Saxophone was kind of was a really weird one. It felt like more like a war story than to do with zombies, and oh yeah, and then like Plavok's Dogs. I thought I like the title of that one, but it was so long and just all this characters just arguing with each other, and I was like, I just got bored and just skipped it. And the really disappointing one was Robert McCannon's story Eat Me. I was like thinking this would be the best one out of to finish off the anthology, and the Ime is basically about is two zombies that basically discovered that they love each other, and the only way to feel love is to basically eat each other until they die. I thought this really sucked. I didn't like Stephen King's story either, Home Delivery. I didn't like it, nor the title. I thought, Home Delivery, what does this have to do with Home Delivery? I really didn't get the title of it, and I just didn't like it at all. But there were some stories I did enjoy. Personally, my favorite was uh, Warm Boy Meets Jerry's Kids. I really liked that one. It was just very creative and different. And the other one I enjoyed too was the Joe Lansdale one, the Dead Folks. I heard that I discovered doing research on these stories, I found there's a comic that was made of this short story, so I'm gonna definitely check that out. Yeah, so hopefully when I go to get the other Books of the Dead series, maybe the later stories will get better. So, all right. That's it for this review today. Hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group of the same name. Place to push here and review fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.